Okay, so we are starting integers. We are kind of done with fractions for a little bit. We're going to do something new today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Thursday we'll review everything. You will have a 50-point quiz on Friday that will cover what we're going over right now. So, a couple of vocab words we need to add. Positive numbers. Somebody tell me in your own word what you think a positive number is.
It can be a number anywhere from 0 to infinity, but it can be a negative number.
All right, so I agree with everything except for one thing you just said. 0 is not a positive number. So, our definition of a positive number is a number greater than 0. And we will represent a positive number with a positive sign. So, the flip of that for a negative number would be
A number less than 0.
a number less than 0, and that is a negative sign.
Or is it Z-O-R-O?
Z-E-R-O.
It looks like a O.
Z-E-R-O. I am also writing fast. Let me remind you, I am recording. Okay, 0. 0 has no value. And it also separates positive and negative numbers. 0 is kind of like the mirror on our number line. Everything else reflects off of it to the left and the right. And we'll talk more about that in just a second.
There's not 2 zeros on the number. Is this a value or value?
Value. V-A-L-U-E. All right, integers. These are any positive or negative numbers. Both positive and negative. So like we said, we have 0 right here in the middle of our number line. Everything to the right is positive. Everything to the left is negative. 0 reflects both sides of our number lines. So if you look on both sides, you have 1 and negative 1. Negative 1 does not start down here. It starts right on the other side of the 0. And then they both continue to 2 and negative 2, 3 and negative 3, and so forth. When you are moving to the right, your value increases. And when we are moving to the left, our value decreases. So this is why, what would be greater, negative 10 or negative 1? Negative 1. You've got to kind of flip that thought. You're so used to thinking that 10 is greater than 1. When they're negative numbers, the smaller digit, the one closer to 0, will have a greater value than the larger one. So negative 1 does have more value. 7 minus 10 would be negative 3. Yeah. And we will get to that a little bit later in the year. Okay, there are a couple of things we can always say based on our number line. Again, numbers to the left of the 0 are always negative. Numbers to the right are always positive. And because our value is increasing as we move to the right, a positive number is always greater than a negative number. Okay? And like we said a second ago, 0 is neither positive or negative. And looking at your number line, if this is 0 and all of these are negative, we can assume 0 is greater than all negative numbers. And if these are all positive, all negative numbers are less than, oops, I didn't need to write than again, less than a positive number. Okay, so let's look for a second. I'm going to flip this over so it's on the video too, but if we think about situations where we're dealing with negative and positive integers, of course, to me, one of the best examples is temperature. Anything below 0 is, well, actually, technically, anything below 32 is freezing. Anything below 0 is negative, and anything above 0 is positive, okay? Another one that to me is a great example, if we were to turn our number line sideways, and you don't have to do this, I just want to show you, okay? If we were to turn our number line sideways, and this is 0, okay? 0 is going to represent what we call sea level, okay? So 0 is sea level. If we go above sea level, and here's our mountain, okay? Our mountain is above sea level, right? So this would be a positive altitude. If we go to the beach and we walk to the sand and it starts tapering off and gets deeper and deeper and deeper, this is all negative, okay? So again, it's like a number line. 0 would be considered sea level. Anything above it is positive. Anything below it is negative. Would you say that we have a positive or negative altitude?
Positive.
Absolutely. Ours is positive. Okay? Anybody know one that has a negative? What?
Louisiana.
New Orleans. Absolutely. They are below sea level. Okay? They're actually a bowl. There's a big wall around it, and that's why it floods. But 0 would be considered sea level. Okay? So again, this is a real life representation of our number line. Anything above it is positive, anything below it is negative. Okay? Alright, so let's talk about some situations and how we would represent them using an integer. What would we represent a 10-yard loss with? Negative 10.
Alicia Garcia, if you are in the building, please come to the parent office. Alicia Garcia, please come to the parent office at this time. Thank you.
Okay? Anything above normal would be positive 4. It could be. We don't have to write that plus. It can just be 4. As long as you don't have a negative sign, it is positive. For me, for some reason, when I'm doing all these situationals and I have to come up with one, I usually use a positive sign. But in a minute, when we do our number lines, as long as you don't have a negative sign, you know it's positive. Okay, Kevin brought cupcakes for everyone at lunch. He had 3 left over. What would be our integer to represent the number of he had left over?
3.
Positive 3. If he were short 3 cupcakes, it would be negative 3. Okay? Alright, next thing we're going to do is graph. And the reason we like to start with graphing instead of just putting them in order is because if we graph first, then move to putting them in order least to greatest, you can visualize the graph. Because the graph will put them in order for you least to greatest. So, what goes in the middle? 0. Alright? This one I've got to go up to positive 5 and I've got to go down to negative 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So, when we're graphing these, we're at negative 8. Which side of the number line is that on?
Left.
The left side. So we're going to put a dot. We're going to label that as negative 8. I did 9 on both sides. That's more than enough. Sure. Okay. For the next one, 5.5, is that going to fall between 4 and 5 or 5 and 6?
5 and 6.
5 and 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. And if it's a decimal or fraction, just putting it in between the 2 is fine. Okay, negative 2 and 1/4, is that between negative 1 and 2 or negative 2 and 3?
Negative 2 and 3.
Okay, so it's more negative than negative 2. So we've got to go negative 1, negative 2, negative 2 1/4.
How can you have a negative 2 1/4? Wouldn't it just be negative 2?
If you owe somebody $2.25, that's negative 2 1/4. Yep. All right, next one is 0. And then we have positive 3. So what happens when you put them on your number line, it has now listed your numbers in order, least to greatest. Negative 8, negative 2 1/4, 0, 3, 5.5. I don't have to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. The absence of a negative sign means it's positive. Yeah. Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, looking at the next one. I only have one positive number, so I'm going to move my 0 this way a little bit just so I have more room. 1, 2, 3, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? Positive 3. What side of the number line?
Right.
The right side. So that's going to be 3. Negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 7/8. Between 1 and 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a little closer to 2. And then we've got negative 10.75. That will be almost at 11. And then we have negative 4. So again, it puts them in order for you, least to greatest. Negative 10.75, negative 6, negative 4, 1 and 7/8, and 3. And again, the thing I'm looking for here is that you know how to graph them by putting a dot on the number line, and that you know what order they would come in.
Is there another way we could do this?
Mm-mm. Yes.
Why is there 0?
Right here, because I just always put a 0 on my number line, so I know where my negative and positives divide. Now, this one, it actually asks me to graph 0. That's why there's a dot on there. This one doesn't ask me, so I just have 0 right there. Like when I start my number lines, that's going to be the first thing I do. If I look at this and realize I only have one negative number, I'm going to move my 0 farther down here because I have less negative numbers to graph than I do positive. So here I'm only going to negative 2, so I can go ahead and graph that one. But all the way up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I've got to go to 20. Okay? Yes?
Where it says 10.75,
Uh-huh.
10 3/4.
You can, but I want you to just put what it's labeled. Yeah. All right, so then we have 2.2. This one actually lists them in order for you. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. And then 19, 18, let's see, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Okay? So again, numbers in order. Yes. All right, I don't want to stop this because sometimes it doesn't pick up right. Real quick, get out a sheet of notebook paper. And you should have a textbook under your desk. If you don't, you may need to share with somebody or look at an empty desk and see if there's one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's between the 8th and 9th. Okay, guys, do this quickly and quietly. There is not a need to have a conversation right now. Okay, now let me say, these textbooks, these do not go home. You have the textbook that we sent home earlier in the year. So that one is at your home for you. I will also take a picture of the page you're doing homework from, and I will send that to you on Remind. Because I know some of you don't go straight home, and that's okay. I want you to be able to work on it if you want to. So I will send you a picture of the textbook. But please make sure you don't leave with the textbook that's in here, because we'll leave these in here for every day. So, since this is the first time we're doing work out of the textbook, I want to walk you through how I want you to set it up. Your name should be at the top of your paper. If we decide to turn this in, I want your name on it. It is 5th period. And today is the 28th. Okay, guys, quickly. On your notes, it showed you the page right here that your homework is coming from. So go ahead and write that on here. So you are doing page 421. We're starting with numbers 1 through 6. We'll do those together. And then you're going to finish up with 10 through 21. You are not doing 7, 8, and 9.
Are they hard?
No, they're not hard. It's something I haven't taught you yet. We'll get to those tomorrow.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, and 9. We'll get to those tomorrow. All right. Somebody read number 1 on that page for me. Caden.
A 15-yard gain.
Okay, so we're writing an integer to show a 15-yard gain. What would that be?
Positive.
Plus 15. So guys, for those problems where it says write an integer, that's all you're doing. All right, somebody read number 2 for me. Cole.
A loss of 2 hours.
A loss of 2 hours. What would we say?
Negative 2 hours.
Negative 2. Okay, number 3. Read that one for me.
Anderson saved $24 in a month. And that would be positive 24.
Absolutely. If he saved $24 in 1 month, that's a positive 24. He is $24 more in his account or his piggy bank than he did before. All right, and number 4. Somebody read that one for me. I'm getting the same people. Read that one for me. What?
Negative 3, graph each side.
Oh, these are graphing. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. Never mind. I thought we had one more integer. Okay, so, again, tell me what numbers we're graphing.
Negative 3 and negative 9 and 7.
Okay. All right. Now, looking at this set of numbers, first thing we're going to do is start off with our number line. Okay, what goes in the middle? 0. Okay? And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Which is the least value here? What's the smallest value?
3.
Nope.
Negative 9.
-9. Remember, the more negative it is, the smaller the value. The farther away to the left the number is on the number line, the lesser value it has. Okay? What comes next?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. 1, 2, 3. And then lastly,
7.
positive 7. I do want to see 0 on your number line.
Yeah.
That should be the first place you start. When you draw your number line, start with 0. Okay? What's my next set of numbers? Number 5. What you got, Brady?
Negative 1, 1, and 0.
This is a fun one. Okay? I don't have to have a big number line on this one. Okay, 0's in the middle, right? And it wants me to graph 0, so I'm putting a dot on 0. Then I've got positive 1, and then I've got negative 1.
Is it okay if we did a 3-number? I was about to ask, is it okay if we did a 3-number number line?
Yes, and I'm actually about to show you something. All right, somebody read the numbers for number 6.
3,
Okay?
negative 5,
All right?
10,
Okay?
negative 7.
Negative 7. Okay. I'm actually going to tell you it's okay to do this because the thing I'm looking for is that you know the order of the number that the numbers come in. Okay? So we're putting 0. Instead of doing 10 lines up here and 7 lines this direction, I'm going to start with what is my smallest value?
-7.
-7. Okay? What comes after -7?
-5.
-5. Okay, do I have any other negatives? Nope. What do I have that's positive? 3. And then 10. Okay. If you prefer to show all lines, that is fine. If you prefer to just put them in order, that is fine. I will accept either one, okay? Because my whole purpose is that I know, number one, you know how to graph them on a number line, and that you know the order they come in, okay? And the most important thing is here is that you realize -7 is farther away from 0 than -5, okay? -1 would be closer up this way. So -7 is the least value here. All right. So you're not doing 7, 8, and 9. Next thing you will work on is 10 through 21. Any other questions right now? Good? All right, I'm going to stop this.